Here are the top stories for today, April 8, 2021. Trusted and healthy, President Rodrigo Duterte maintains high trust and approval ratings based on a latest survey. Palace officials also dispelled claims that the president suffered a mild stroke. The Food and Drug Administration approves the special compassionate use of anti-parasitic drug Ivermectin. From no to yes, the vaccination of senior citizens using Sinovac jabs begins next week after the DOH and the FDA gave their nod for the measure. And at least 150 people died while thousands were left homeless as Cyclone Seroja lashes parts of Indonesia and neighboring East Timor. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. President Rodrigo Duterte still enjoys a high approval and trust ratings amid the COVID-19 pandemic. This was based on the results of the 2021 Pahayag First Quarter Survey of independent pollster Publicis Asia Incorporated. The chief executive got an overall approval rating of 65% and a high trust rating of 55%. Senate President Vicente Soto III came in second with a 41% overall approval rating, while Vice President Leni Robredo is in third place with an overall approval rating of 29%. The survey was conducted among 1,500 respondents from March 20 to 29 this year. Respondents were asked regarding the overall performance and trustworthiness of top government officials for the past 3 months. In a statement, presidential spokesperson Harry Roque expressed delight over the results of the survey and thanked Filipinos for the continued trust in Duterte's leadership. President Rodrigo Duterte remains safe and in good health. The Presidential Security Group made this assurance amid reports of COVID-19 infections among the president's security aides. PSG Commander Brigadier General Jesus Durante III said that while over 100 PSG personnel have contracted COVID-19, they are still not directly or closely detailed with the president. They are also asymptomatic and have not experienced any adverse symptom. Durante said the PSG would only recommend the resumption of Duterte's activities once COVID-19 cases in Metro Manila subside. Meanwhile, Communications Secretary Martin Andanar branded as fake news the report of Maharlika TV saying the president suffered a mild heart attack. The speculation was made after the president was forced to reschedule anew his address to the nation due to the number of positive cases among the presidential security personnel. For his part, Senator Christopher Lawrence Go shared several photos of President Duterte working at the Malacanang Palace in Manila to belie rumors about the president's health. Go told the public to just help Duterte in the fight against COVID-19 instead of spreading false information about his health. The Food and Drug Administration has given its go signal for the compassionate use of anti-parasitic drug Ivermectin. FDA Director General Eric Domingo, however, clarifies that the permit for its compassionate use is different from the pending product registration application. Domingo said Ivermectin is an investigational product and that clinical trials are ongoing to know if it can really cure or prevent COVID-19. He says Ivermectin, which is only allowed for animals, must be registered first before it can be used for humans.
Ivermectin ay isang investigational product. Alam naman natin may mga clinical trials ongoing dito para gamitin against COVID-19. So ang pagkakaalam ko po, may isang hospital sa amin na nag-apply ng Compassionate Special Permit for the use of Ivermectin at ito po ay nag-grant na ngayong araw na ito. Meron na rin po kami dalawang application for Certificate of Product Registration. So binigyan na rin po sila ng mga listahan ng kanilang mga requirements na kailangan i-submit para po umandar yung kanilang application at ma-evaluate.
Senior citizens can now be vaccinated using Sinovac starting April 12. In an advisory, the National Task Force Against COVID-19 said the vaccination of senior citizens using CoronaVac will start on Monday to provide vaccination sites enough time to organize scheduling of vaccine recipients and other implementing guidelines consistent with the advice of the Food and Drug Administration or FDA. The Department of Health and the FDA allowed the use of Sinovac jabs for people aged 60 and above as long as stringent evaluation of the person's health status and exposure risk are being done. FDA Director General Eric Domingo says the department has allowed the administration of Sinovac jabs among the elderly in light of the current situation of high COVID-19 cases in the country. However, vaccination should be preceded by an evaluation of the person's health status and exposure risk to assure that benefits of vaccination outweigh risks. Medical frontliners from Central and Eastern Visayas respond to the call for volunteer healthcare workers in the National Capital Region or NCR and nearby provinces to help combat the latest surge of COVID-19 cases. Secretary Michael Lloyd Dino of the Office of the Presidential Assistance for the Visayas led the send-off ceremony of the 66 medical health workers consisting of 11 doctors, 35 nurses and 4 medical technologists from Central Visayas, as well as 50 nurses and 1 doctor from Eastern Visayas. The health workers have arrived in Manila and will be stationed at the National Kidney and Transplant Institute, Lung Center of the Philippines, San Lazaro Hospital, Tondo Medical Center, and Rizal Medical Center. They will work under a contract of service arrangement for 3 continuous months with pay plus additional 20% premium of their basic salary, round-trip travel expenses, and PhilHealth premium contribution. Governor Gwendolyn Garcia, who attended the send-off ceremony, also announced that they will also give each volunteer another 5,000 peso monthly incentive along with vitamins and an air purifier. She also promised to give them 10,000 pesos each upon their return. The government ensures there will be a swift and manageable distribution of pandemic cash assistance. It says a comprehensive database is in place that will weed out ghost beneficiaries. The Department of Social Welfare and Development says both the national government and local government units have provided a database of beneficiaries to expedite the distribution of the cash aid to families affected by the enhanced community quarantine. Meanwhile, the Department of the Interior and local government warned LGUs against inclusion of ghost names or unqualified individuals in the list of the beneficiaries. DILG spokesperson Jonathan Malaya said violators could face either administrative or criminal charges before the City Hall of Justice or at the Ombudsman. Under the Joint Memorandum Circular 1, the LGUs were directed to release the cash assistance to their constituents within 15 days upon receipt of the funds, while in-kind assistance should be given within 30 days. ECQ-affected village officials and workers are qualified to receive financial assistance from the government. Relatives of barangay officials may also receive financial aid from the national government as long as they meet the requirements. DILG spokesperson Jonathan Malaya says village officials, barangay health workers, village watchmen, councilors, and other barangay utility workers with a monthly salary of 1,500 to 2,000 pesos are qualified to receive the assistance because they are also low-income earners. Each qualified individual will receive 1,000 pesos, while a family with 4 members or more will get a maximum of 4,000 pesos. The local government units are tasked to publicly post the list of the beneficiaries for the cash assistance. LGUs are also directed to establish a grievance and appeals committee to address complaints from the public. More local government units gear up for the immediate distribution of cash aid. Vaccination of senior citizens and other efforts to help ease the number of patients in the hospitals are also underway. The details from Chris Mundo.
In Quezon City, financial assistance will be given to about 800,000 families affected by the enhanced community quarantine. Mayor Joy Belmonte said the national government has allocated almost 2.5 million pesos for its residents. She said based on the guidelines of the national government, those eligible for the aid are the same beneficiaries of the Social Amelioration Program. Also included in the list are beneficiaries of the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program. In Caloocan City, the local government speed up its distribution of financial aid with the help of a digital system. Caloocan 1st District Representative Dale Malapitan said the city government made sure that the facilities, venue, seating arrangement, and processing adopt to the guidelines of the Interagency Task Force on Emerging Infectious Diseases. The distribution will run for 14 days. In Manila, positive patients who are asymptomatic or have mild symptoms are being discouraged from rushing to hospitals. Instead, Mayor Isko Moreno Domagoso encouraged them to go to the different quarantine facilities in Manila. He said patients should only be brought to the hospital if their condition worsens, as recommended by medical professional groups. And in Pasig City, 4 more vaccination sites open to accommodate senior citizens in the city. Mayor Vico Soto said approximately 4,000 elderly are set to receive their first dose of COVID-19 vaccine this week. The city government will also provide a free shuttle for senior citizens who are scheduled for COVID-19 vaccination. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Chris Crismundo.
Still to come, the province of Negros Oriental gears up to inoculate senior citizens with COVID-19 vaccines. And suggested retail price on imported pork products takes effect tomorrow. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Sa matinding laban natin sa Coronavirus Disease 2019, sugpuin din natin ang pagkalat ng fake news. Huwag magbahagi ng impormasyon na hindi tiyak ang pinagmulan. I-check mabuti ang source ng balita. Kumuha lamang ng impormasyon mula sa mga official channel ng Department of Health. Huwag magpadala sa maling balita, basta't sama-sama at laging handa. Kaya natin to. Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito. Pangalagaan ng sarili laban sa Coronavirus Disease 2019. Hanggat maaari, umiwas sa mataong lugar. Iwasang hawakan ang ilong at bibig, maging malinis sa katawan at ugaliin ang wastong paghuhugas ng kamay. Takpan ang ilong at bibig kung uubo o babahing. Umiwas sa mga taong nagpapakita ng sintomas ng coronavirus disease gaya ng lagnat, ubo at sipon. Magsuot ng face mask kung kinakailangan. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa. Kaya natin to. Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
More provinces gear up for their vaccination drive for the elderlies. Provincial news update from Janice Cabe.
In Negros Oriental, the provincial government is all set to administer the COVID-19 jabs to senior citizens once the vaccines arrive. Assistant Provincial Health Officer Dr. Leland Estacion said she has given instructions to the rural health units, municipal and city health offices to prepare their respective lists of senior citizens who will receive the inoculation. While waiting for the jabs, the provincial government is currently administering the second dose of vaccines to healthcare workers, with 283 having received it so far. In Pangasinan, 4th District Representative Christopher De Venecia is urging senior citizens to get the COVID-19 vaccine. De Venecia said based on his survey in January and February on the confidence of the people, less than 7% of the senior citizens responded, saying that they are willing to be vaccinated. De Venecia said this prompted his parents, former House Speaker Jose De Venecia Jr. and former 4th District Representative Gina De Venecia to be vaccinated. In Bulacan, some medical frontliners contracted COVID-19 after receiving their first dose of vaccines last month. According to the Department of Health, there is still a possibility for vaccinated individuals, especially those who are highly exposed, to still contract the virus. Vaccine proponents and manufacturers said the jabs do not guarantee against infection but are highly efficient in preventing severe cases and deaths. The provincial government has started administering the second dose of Sinovac vaccines as part of the continuing efforts to contain the virus. For PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cabe.
Health officials slammed the naming of the COVID-19 variants found in Region 7 as Central Visayas variant or CVV. DOH Region 7 Chief Pathologist and COVID-19 Regional Spokesperson Dr. Mary Jean Loreche said they received reports about the P3 variants found in the region being named as CVV instead of Philippine variant. On April 6, a report from the Philippine Genome Center showed some 500 cases of COVID-19 variants nationwide. Loreche said that naming the variant after the region is unfair. Secretary Michael Lloyd Dino from the Office of the Presidential Assistant for the Visayas said he will write a letter to President Rodrigo Duterte on the matter. Dino said the effort to combat COVID-19 in Central Visayas is very successful, citing the actions from the Emergency Operations Center in addressing the surge in cases in Cebu City. He also cited the project Balik Buhay that helped health authorities in detecting cases, which also led to the discovery of variants of concern. President Rodrigo Duterte on Wednesday issued an executive order temporarily modifying the rates of important duty on pork products. Under Executive Order number 128, Duterte stressed the need to take immediate steps to allow the domestic swine industry to fully recover and attain sufficient local pork production. EO 128 reduces tariff rates for both in-quota and out-quota imports of pork. The tariff rate on pork imports within the minimum access volume, or MAV, would be reduced to 5% for the first 3 months. On the other hand, pork imports outside MAV will be slapped with a lower tariff of 15% for the next 3 months. Duterte issued the EO as part of the efforts to address the impact of the African swine fever on the country's hog industry. Moving on to our business news, prices of vegetables have dropped significantly while prices of non-agricultural products remain stable, according to the Departments of Agriculture and Trade. DA Secretary William Dar said vegetables are in season, which is why the supply is abundant and prices are lower by about 50%. For non-agricultural products, DTI Secretary Ramon Lopez said there have been no price increases for basic necessities and commodities since September 2019. Both officials vowed to monitor the movement of prices and supply of food products in the market to ensure that Filipinos would not be burdened with higher food prices while struggling amid the pandemic. The Department of Agriculture says a suggested retail price on imported pork will take effect starting Friday, April 9. Imported pork kasim shall have an SRP of 270 pesos per kilogram and 350 pesos per kilogram for imported pork liempo. Agriculture Secretary William Dar said this measure is part of the government's efforts to stabilize food prices. Prices of meat went up due to the continued supply deficiency brought by African swine fever, or ASF. Dar, however, said imposing price ceiling and SRP alone will not solve the problem of higher prices of meat. He added that easing rules on imported meat, such as raising the minimum access volume for pork and lowering its tariff, will address the supply issue in the local market. From February to March this year, a total of 38 million kilograms of imported pork arrived in the country. Up next, at least 150 people die as floods batter Indonesia and East Timor. And a move to revive tourism, the country is considering to use of the Yata travel app Pass. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Tandaan ang tamang paraan ng paghuhugas at paglilinis ng kamay upang makaiwas sa iba't ibang karamdaman. Basain ng tubig ang mga kamay at sabunin. Unang sabunin ang mga palad at ang likod ng mga kamay. Kuskusin na maigi ang pagitan ng mga daliri at maging ang mga kuko. Isunod ang pagitan ng mga hinlalaki at kuskusin ng paikot ang mga dulo ng mga daliri sa magkabilang palad. Banlawang mabuti ang mga kamay sa malinis na tubig at patuyuin ang mga kamay gamit ang single-use towel o air dryer. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, Kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito. Alamin ang mga dapat gawin sa lugar ng trabaho laban sa Coronavirus Disease 2019. Ang mga kumpanya ay dapat magbigay ng face mask sa kanilang mga empleyado. Bukod dito, magbigay kaalaman din patungkol sa COVID-19. Siguraduhin malinis ang kapaligiran. Maglagay ng sabon at hand sanitizer sa mga palikuran. Siguraduhin ligtas at nalutong maigi ang mga pagkain sa kantina. Obserbahan ang kalusugan ng mga empleyado at katrabaho. Kung sakali man na mayroon silang sintomas ng coronavirus disease, gaya ng lagnat, ubot sipon at hirap sa paghinga, ay agad ipasuri sa doktor. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
You're still watching the PNA Newsroom. The National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict backed the claim of the National Intelligence Coordinating Agency, or NICA, that the Union of Senate Employees is a front of the communist group. The NTF-LCAC is convinced that the sandigan ng mga empleyadong nagkakaisa sa adhikain ng demokratikong organisasyon or Senado is being controlled by the labor group Courage or Confederation for Unity, Recognition and Advancement of Government Employees. Courage has been tagged as a front organization of the CPP and PANDF. Communications Undersecretary Lorraine Marie Badoy said Courage's main goal is to infiltrate and weaken the government by radicalizing and then recruiting its innocent members. Senado, however, denied links to CPP and PANDF. It urged the senators to conduct an investigation into the alleged hurdle against the union as well as other organizations in government. In our foreign news, Cyclone Seroja has left at least 157 people dead and thousands homeless as it battered Indonesia and neighboring East Timor. The death toll stands at 67 in Lembata Regency, 49 in East Flores, and 12 in Alor, while at least 72 people are still missing from the cyclone's onslaught since Sunday. Over 8,400 people have also been displaced in the East Nusa Tenggara province. Over 2,600 more were affected by flash floods and landslides triggered by Cyclone Seroja. Indonesia's Weather Bureau said extreme weather conditions may likely remain until at least April 9. In East Timor, flash floods and landslides have killed at least 27 people and displaced over 7,000, mostly in the capital of Dili. At least 8 people are still missing. Bicol Regional Development Council Chair and Legazpi City Mayor Noel Rosal reminds all the region's barangay officials to closely monitor people returning home from Metro Manila to prevent a surge in COVID-19 cases. Rosal said village officials should remind their constituents to follow the minimum health and safety protocols to prevent the spread of the virus. He said people attempting to gain entry to any part of Bicol must be able to present valid documents, including results of either a negative RT-PCR or saliva or antigen test. On the other hand, DILG Regional Director and Bicol IATF Chairman Anthony Nuida said they will ban all colorum vehicles that are carrying passengers without essential documents. The IATF is planning to suspend flights from Manila to Legazpi to control the entry of people to Albay and other parts of the Bicol region. Meanwhile, in Antique Province, locals showed their support to the courtesy lockdown implemented by the local government. This as the Antique Provincial Health Office recorded 50 new confirmed cases, increasing the total active cases of the province to 229 as of Wednesday. Under the courtesy lockdown, people are discouraged to go out from their respective municipalities for 15 days to prevent the further spread of COVID-19 in the province. The public is encouraged to stay in their homes if they have nothing important to transact outside. The Philippine government is considering the use of the Travel Pass app of the International Air Transport Association, or IATA, in preparation for the resumption of international travel amid the pandemic. The IATA Travel Pass can be used to create a digital passport, verify tests or vaccinations with regulatory authorities, and submit requirements such as test results or vaccination certificates to facilitate travel. Tourism Secretary Bernadette Romulo Puyat said the use of the app is parallel with the steps undertaken by other countries that have successfully relaxed borders to visitors. As of April 4, over 20 airlines and airline groups have adopted the IATA Travel Pass on a trial basis. The IATA represents a total of 290 airlines, or 82% of the world's total commercial air traffic. Its members from the Philippines are Cebu Pacific and Philippine Airlines. In sports, the Philippine Olympic Committee plans to get COVID-19 vaccines for the national athletes, especially those who will compete in this year's Southeast Asian Games in Hanoi. POC President Abraham Tolentino has expressed gladness about the President Rodrigo Duterte's decision to allow private entities to procure coronavirus vaccines. He said the Olympic Committee of Asia has allotted $40,000 to POC as vaccine subsidy. Tolentino has assigned POC First Vice President Al Panlilio as the chair of its task force on vaccine procurement. He said the task force will decide on when the POC can start vaccinating athletes and which brand to use. Among the 6 athletes who have qualified in the Tokyo Olympics are eyeing spots in the SEA Games. Only boxer Yumir Marcial has so far been inoculated. Here's another look at today's biggest stories. Trusted and healthy, President Rodrigo Duterte maintains high trust and approval ratings based on a latest survey. Palace officials also dispelled claims that the president suffered a mild stroke. The Food and Drug Administration approves the special compassionate use of anti-parasitic drug Ivermectin. From no to yes, the vaccination of senior citizens using Sinovac jabs begins next week after the DOH and the FDA gave their nod for the measure. And at least 150 people died while thousands were left homeless as Cyclone Seroja lashes parts of Indonesia and neighboring East Timor. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check more news content, visit our webpage or head onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, we tell stories that inspire change.